The Swan Song of Celestia by Frogmyre. Swanlestia. The raising of the sun, considered one of the most important events in all of Equestria, for it could only be performed by one pony, Princess Celestia. To be invited to witness the rising of the sun was a great honor, given only to those who belonged to the day court, the other princesses, and close friends of the princess herself. It was a day like no other, although there was a notable lack of coffee in the castle. This had been reported to both Princess Celestia and Princess Luna, for the two princesses practically ran on coffee, and without it the sun would never rise. A well-recorded event in the early annals of equestrian history was a great sleep-in, where neither of the princesses could be awoken from their deep naps. Contemporary reports state that crisis was averted with a liberal use of a feather, a long stick, and several renowned earth pony singers. But the lack of coffee could be dealt with quite easily. The princesses had their own private coffee mills, devoted solely to providing them with coffee. And yet there was still something odd about Celestia as she sat on her throne, the very picture of nobility. The earth pony, currently sitting in front of the throne, continued his treatise.
So, you see, Princess Celestia, by signing this here treaty,
he indicated a piece of paper currently laying in front of him,
we are guaranteed that exports will rise by 20, maybe even 30%.
He had a brown coat, a small hat on top of his head, and a pencil behind his ear. His cutie mark was a brown bag filled to overflow with golden bits. Princess Celestia trumpeted loudly.
Honk! But Princess Celestia,
the earth pony started.
Honk!
Interrupted Celestia.
But Princess,
Honk!
But
honk, 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 she trumpeted quite clearly.
Oh, fine, have it your way,
grumbled the disgruntled earth pony as he tore up the piece of paper and put the scraps under his hat. He promptly turned around and walked out of room. As he passed through the exit, he saw the Princess of Friendship herself, Twilight Sparkle. He bowed to the princess and asked her,
What brings you to the day court?
Oh, moneybags, I didn't see you there,
said Twilight as she stopped to talk to him.
I'm here on official princess duty,
she explained as she gestured to the bundle of scrolls over her back.
How about you?
I had a treatise I wanted her to sign to help expand the mining industry. The demand is skyrocketing and I could make we could make so much money if she just agreed to increase the territory,
he explained, a gleam coming over his eyes as he talked about his favorite thing.
I wonder why she didn't,
said Twilight, more to herself than to Moneybags.
I'll ask her about it when I get the chance,
she said.
Good luck,
grumbled Moneybags.
Something seems up with Princess Celestia, of that I'm sure.
He finished, walking out of the room, a grimace on his face.
What on Equestria could be wrong?
Pondered Twilight as she entered the court herself.
Announcing Twilight Sparkle, Princess of Friendship!
Exclaimed the courtier positioned near the door. Twilight glared at him, as she didn't like it when any pony did that, no matter their position. She walked up to the throne and looked up to the princess and said,
Princess Celestia, I brought those
She was interrupted when she looked up towards the throne. Sitting on top of it was none other than a swan. It was a very majestic swan and one that resembled Celestia a little bit, but it certainly wasn't the princess. The swan trumpeted.
Honk! Well, greetings to you.
Twilight stopped herself mid-sentence. She looked at the swan, even flew up and examined her, and she was a regular swan in every conceivable way. A flurry of ideas occurred to her, among them that Princess Celestia had been kidnapped, that the swan had deposed her, and even that a new swarm of changelings had invaded Canterlot. She shook her head to dismiss these crazy ideas.
Honk, honk, honk!
Swanlestia said, flapping her wings violently.
I'm sorry, princess, but I just wanted to
Twilight again placed a hoof in her mouth to stop herself from talking. Walking up to the closest guard, she leaned in and asked him,
Does something seem off about Princess Celestia to you?
No, sir,
replied the guard, saluting and avoiding eye contact with Twilight.
She was like this when I reported for duty this morning, and she hasn't changed in the slightest since then.
Twilight sighed as she walked away. Clearly, there was either some powerful spell over the Swan, or the guards had just refused to acknowledge that something was wrong with the princess. An idea occurred to her. Running out of the day court, she made her way to the royal bedrooms. She hated to wake Luna whilst she was napping, but in a situation like this she had no choice. She knocked on the door but heard no response. Figuring that Luna was simply asleep, she slowly opened the door and peeked in. And there was Princess Luna, tucked under the covers, sleeping like a foal. Twilight called out,
Luna!
in a soft voice. No response. Twilight raised her voice a little bit, then said,
Luna!
for the second time. Still no response.
Luna!
She finally yelled, getting tired of being subtle. But still, no response. Sighing with exasperation, she closed the door and walked back. Behind the door, the Luna plush fell out of the bed and landed on the floor. Twilight, now back in the day court, walked up to the Swan and started to say,
So what are... Honk, 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 honk,
interrupted Celestia.
You're kidding me.
Said Twilight as she listened closely to the Swan's explanation.
Please, go on,
she said.
Honk, honk, honk,
started Celestia, flying off of the throne and waddling towards Twilight.
Honk, 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 honk,
she trumpeted.
Honk.
She finished triumphantly.
That actually makes a lot of sense,
replied Twilight as she watched the Swan fly back up to the throne with a few flaps. There was just one thing she had to do now.
Dear Princess Celestia, I have known you for many years now, first as a student, then as a friend, and now as a fellow princess. And because of this, I would like to ask you a question. What kind of spell did you use on the Swan? Such advanced magic is even beyond me. All I know is that through some use of magic, you have loaned a small part of your personality to this Swan, and cast a spell to allow other ponies to understand her. Sincerely, Twilight Sparkle, Princess of Friendship. P.S. Next time you take a vacation, can you let me know beforehand? P.P.S. Also, why not take Luna? She's as deserving of a vacation as you.
We here at Pony&Wolf Productions thank these amazing patrons of ours for their monthly support, without which all of this would not be possible. We sincerely appreciate it, and every dollar helps, is needed, and will be used to keep us going to produce audiobooks for your continued enjoyment. It is, now more than ever, important that you support your favorite creators if possible, due to YouTube changing in a way that is not very friendly to content creators. Especially small content creators, like us. In recent months, the names you see on screen have enabled Midnight and Visual Pony to keep going and only having to sell off part of their belongings to not end up on the street. As an incentive for everyone, Visual Pony has broken a vow and has promised to read and record Fallout Equestria, Murky number 7, should the monthly support reach $1,500. To be clear, this is the absolute minimum amount needed to keep the apartment and all bills paid without starving, while a production of this size is ongoing. The estimated time for this production would be 3 to 4 years, but people already said that Project Horizons was impossible to do, right? And now look who did it, so with Pony&Wolf, you know we can finish the job. For further information on how to support us, please have a look at the description of this video, as there are also other ways, like our merch store. Sincerely and forever yours, your Pony&Wolf team.